In this Scratch tutorial, I'm going to go over your final Scratch programming game project, and I would like to go over a few resources with you and some suggestions for you as you get started. So I'm going to dive right into the instructional page, which gives you the requirements for the assignment, and I've attached this to your Google Classroom page. Scratch game assignment. So my opinion, the easiest route is to do a game that's very similar to what we did as the practice, which is a target game. There are some different things that you have to add to it, but we'll talk about that. So the objective is to program or code a target game, or you could pick a maze to do, which is a little different, and I will post a separate tutorial video for that. But once again, the easiest route for you to do is probably a target game like we did in class together. You need at least 2 levels. You need some kind of game over or something that indicates that the game is done, just like we did in the practice. You need a point system, code that works properly, of course. You will need a clever name, thorough instructions, and I will have a separate mini video for that, how to do that. You need to make the game better and fancier than our practice game. So this is the difference between the two. You need to add at least 2 new and different features to your game. So, for instance, when we did the game, it just went through 2 levels, gave you the score and reset and everything. But you need 2 extras. So those extras could be any number of things. One could be a timer, a countdown timer. And I'll show you how to, look for that. I'm not going to teach it, but there are resources out there to help you. It could be you have something that hits your main character and you lose points. That could be something you do. You could have more than 2 levels. You could have 3 levels or 4 levels. Each level would be one extra thing. So you need 2 extra things to get an A. If you just do a target game like we did in class with just the 2 levels and that's it, then you won't receive an A. You won't earn an A. So I'll go over how to look for those things in a minute. Some suggestions are you want to use the code we used in our learning practice game. So if you look at my tabs here, let me move this around here. I have the game that I did already, and I have it open. And then I also opened up a new Scratch tab in my own account. You can have that. In fact, you should. You should have 2 tabs open with Scratch. One is the game you're working on, and one is the game that you've already programmed. So I don't expect you, for instance, to remember how we programmed everything after just one time. You would want to refer back to it and then make that happen in your own game. So I'm loading up a new creation, for instance, and when you do your new game, do a little bit of a different theme and make sure all the characters and the backgrounds all make sense. But don't do exactly the same thing. And you must not take your practice game and add to it. That's just not going to work. It has to be a separate new thing. So if you forget, let's say we're going to keep this cat and we wanted to program it to be our target. If you forget how to do that, you just go back to the other tab and you find your target. And for me in this game, it was one of these buses. And then you take a look at how you programmed it to move, how you programmed it to change score and disappear and all that. Okay? So while I'm on that subject, the backpack is your friend. However, this is very, very important. You need to know what can be backpacked and transferred to a new game or project and what will not work. This is absolutely critical. So I'm going to look at this code here, this page for my bus. This movement, I could backpack this, put it in my backpack and shove it up into any character in another game and it would work. The only thing you cannot backpack and reuse is anything specific to the previous game, the game you've already done. So if we look at this right here, this rock is only in this game. When I go and make a new game, it will have a different projectile probably. So that wouldn't transfer over. Any variable, we made variables. Okay, we made the score variable. You cannot, I will say it again, you cannot, I'll say it again, you cannot backpack that code and expect it to work. You have to create a brand new variable, even if it says the same thing in your new game. It will not transfer. So I would recommend not backpacking any code strings that have reference to your first game. It just will not transfer over, right? And it'll be a major, major headache for you, trust me. So if it doesn't have anything specific to the old game transferring to your new game, go ahead and backpack it and reuse it. That'll save you a bunch of time. So make sure you understand that. I said it a bunch of times already. So let's say you're programming a new game and then you forget, oh, how did I program the projectile? Well, you look at your projectile and you drag over those code pieces on your new character. That's how you would do that. Let's see. Let's say you forget how to set up the scoring system. You would go to the stage of your old game and take a look. And you cannot, absolutely cannot backpack this. You're going to have to create that fresh in your new game. And you'll have to create new variables. You can't reuse these variables. It will not work. Okay. So you'll have to remake the variables like we did in class. Okay. So that's that. Let me go back over here. Another suggestion would be view examples on the Explore section of Scratch or do a search for ideas in code strings. So let's say I'm in Scratch and I'm going to go back to the Scratch icon, which takes me back to their kind of home page. I'm still signed in. Actually, you don't need to be signed in to do this, but you can be. Let's say you want to do a countdown timer, but you don't know how to do it. What you do is you could do a search in here. I've done one already, so I'm going to just click it. And they'll bring up games that other people have created using countdown timers. You always want to pick the simplest looking timer or the simplest looking version of whatever you're looking up that you can. It just is way easier than to do it that way. So I'm going to go and look around. These look kind of tricky. You can look at them. Let's see. I don't see anything that looks great. Maybe I'll look at this one. So you kind of go in there and see what someone else did. By the way, while this is loading, you cannot remix someone else's game and call it your own. I will know that you've done that. It's very apparent if I look. So what you do is you look here and then you go to see inside and see, you just kind of go to that and see if you can find it. Okay, there's their version of it. It doesn't look great. It's not what I would use. So let's say you strike out there. The other great resource to use is, in fact, it's right here, view my tutorials. And it also says on YouTube also. So you go to YouTube and you type in Scratch. Make sure you put in the word Scratch. And then what you're looking for, I'm going to put timer. And you're going to find tutorials all over the place. Look at the previews and see what looks simple. Let's see, creating a countdown. Oh, you know what you do is when you're looking at these tutorial, look at the time. If it's like a 19-minute job, don't do it because it's not going to get right to the point. I think the one I have used is this one. It's 1 minute 43 seconds. So I'll click on it. And you don't have to even have to watch this. You can do, if I don't know if you've done this with my videos, but what I do is I know that they're going to put together the coding for the timer. So I'm just going to go to the end and see what it looks like at the end. and push pause, which I'm on. I need to make this bigger to see it, but that's how they did their timer right there. That's the code. Then I go over to the game I'm working on and I just drag over those code pieces. I keep going back and forth and looking at them and drag it over. So that's how you would learn how to do something like that. Always pick the simplest version you can. Okay, let's see what else it says. Keep trying, don't give up, have fun. As far as extra things besides a timer, you could do, I've already mentioned a few things. You could also do an introductory background that says something, gives instructions. You could do your instructions there. You could add effects if you wanted to. So you do need a couple of extra things to get the A. And again, I think your easiest route is to do a target game like we did in class and just change up the theme and the characters and make it a little bit better. If you want to do a maze, I will post another option there a little bit later that will detail all kinds of techniques that you can use. But for now, if you have any questions, you let me know, message me or email me or something like that, and I will help you along. But that is the gist of it, and we're going to spend about a week working on this at home. You need to stay on top of it and work on it, and if you have any questions, reach out to me. And that's about it. I hope you guys have a good one. I'll talk to you later.